It's April 17th, and the strange side of history awaits. Today, we have a flight where the sky tore open, a hike that turned into a frozen nightmare, and a man who disappeared into the night. Let's begin. On April 17, 2018, a routine flight climbed quietly to 32,000 feet, and then something tore apart. Aboard Southwest Airlines Flight 1380, a single fan blade inside the left engine fractured without warning. The engine tore itself apart. Metal shrapnel blasted outwards, punching the aircraft's body, and then one piece struck the window, shattering it. The cabin erupted into chaos. Air screamed out of the aircraft as pressure vanished in seconds, oxygen masks dropped, and loose objects flew past passengers, clutching to their seats. Then something even more horrifying happened. Passenger Jennifer Ryard was partially pulled through the broken window, her body forced outward by the rushing air. Those around her fought desperately, pulling her back inside. Somehow they succeeded, but the damage was already done. Inside the cockpit, Captain Tammy Jo Schutz remained eerily calm. A former Navy pilot, she guided the crippled aircraft downward, speaking in steady tones as alarms blared and the plane struggled to hold together. Against the odds, the aircraft touched down in Philadelphia. Jennifer was the only casualty, and later, investigators would trace it all back to something almost invisible. Microscopic metal fatigue, quietly growing inside the engine, until the exact moment where it gave way. Do you think if you were on that plane, you would have thought it was going to land safely? On April 17, 1936, a group of English schoolboys followed their teacher up a quiet mountain in Germany. Unaware, they were walking into something they wouldn't all return from. The mountain was called Schwarzschild, which meant look into the land. 27 boys, led by their teacher Kenneth Keast, began the climb. Despite repeated warnings from locals, the weather was turning and a storm was coming. As they reached the exposed crest, the world around them would disappear. Fog swallowed the path, snow began to fall, and the wind rose. Within minutes, the group had become disorientated, no clear direction, no shelter, and no way down. The temperature dropped fast. Some boys stumbled, others collapsed in exhaustion. The teacher pressed on, leading them deeper into the whiteout. Hours passed, and by the time the villagers realized something was wrong, one by one survivors were pulled from the mountain, frozen and barely conscious, unable to explain what happened. But not all of them came back. 5 boys were found dead, claimed by exposure to the mountain they should never have climbed. And then, the story changed. Back in Germany, the teacher denied responsibility. He claimed he had no warning and no knowledge of the storm, and somehow, he was praised a hero. The truth was buried, and the tragedy was reshaped into propaganda, used to tell a different story to the world, and the dead boys were no longer victims, but symbols. For decades, what really happened on that mountain remained hidden beneath the silence of snow, in a carefully rewritten version of events. On April 17, 1992, the sun began to fall over Tampa, Florida. A man named David Whitehurst prepared for a flight he would never return. There was nothing unusual about that evening, no distress, no urgency, just a quiet departure from a leased plane and a routine takeoff in a darkened sky. In the parking lot sat his Dodge Stealth. The doors were unlocked, his wallet and keys inside. Everything a person would never leave behind, unless maybe they were never planning to return. Whitehurst listed off into the night and then into nothing. No radio call, no emergency signal, no trace of a wreck. Search efforts found no debris, no crash site, and no answers. It was as if the plane had simply vanished. To this day, David Whitehurst has never been found. Another day, another strange bite from history. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your next eerie dose is just a day away.